What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out one of the latest robot vacuums from Ecovacs. What we have here today is called the Ecovacs T90 Pro Omni. This vacuum right here offers flagship level cleaning performance at a more affordable price. This is one of the most capable high-value robot vacuums that we've tested so far. Now, before we go any further, I also want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Ecovacs, and of course I will leave some links to this robot vacuum in the video's description so you can check it out. Alright, so one of the best features for this robot vacuum is definitely the Osmo Roller 3.0 that we have at the bottom of the vacuum here. This is a 27 centimeter long roller mop that gets cleaned inside the robot vacuum every time it spins. So unlike those robot vacuums that have the two spinning brushes at the bottom, every time the roller mop spins, it actually gets cleaned with fresh water inside the robot vacuum. So there is no cross-contamination throughout the house. So basically all the dirt that ends up on the roller mop ends up inside the robot vacuum right away, so it doesn't get spread throughout your house. You will notice how much cleaner your floors are with the roller mop like this. So imagine every time the roller mop spins, all the dirt, anything that you may have on the floor ends up inside the robot vacuum, and eventually it ends up in the Omni station. Now, the Omni station is a bit too big to have on my desk here, but yes, there is an Omni station that comes with the robot vacuum as well, and the robot vacuum will go there and wash the mop, empty the dirty water tank every so often. You can actually select how often from the app, but we'll talk more about that later on. So if you spill a bunch of ketchup, coffee, whatever you spill on the floor, the robot vacuum will go over it and everything will end up inside the robot vacuum, will not be spread on your floors. Another feature that you don't typically find for more affordable robot vacuums that have a roller mop at the bottom is the ability of the roller mop to reach the edges of the floors. So with a lot of budget-friendly robot vacuums, you're gonna have about this much space that never gets cleaned. Well, that is not the case with the T90 Pro right here, because the mop actually extends 1.5 centimeters out of the robot's body, so it can actually reach all the edges. So this will give you a much better cleaning close to the edges compared to a lot of the competition. So I believe the manufacturer calls that True Edge 3.0, but basically the roller mop can extend out of the vacuum's body and reach all those places that a lot of vacuums don't actually get to clean. Moving on to another one of my favorite features, and that is what's called Power Boost charging. That's basically fast charging for your robot vacuum, just like we have fast charging for phones. So think about it for a second. With a lot of vacuums, when they run out of power, they have to go back to their base station and charge for a couple of hours. Well, it is very rare that this vacuum actually runs out of power while it's going on a cleaning cycle because of that power boost charging that we have. So fast charging. So every time the vacuum goes to the base station to wash the mop, for example, and that takes about 4 minutes and a half or just under 4 minutes and a half. In those 4 minutes and a half, this can charge about 11 to 12%. I've actually filmed when this was charging, just so you have an idea how fast it's actually charging. So this will rarely run out of power. Maybe if you have like the most massive mansion, but even then I think it charges enough in the times that it goes back to the base station to wash the mop and empty itself out, that it doesn't actually run out of power on a cleaning cycle. So this is definitely one of my favorite features because it charges so fast and it doesn't run out of power. Next on the list, and this is also quite important for a robot vacuum, is the suction power. So this vacuum has what the manufacturer calls blast high airflow suction. This robot vacuum delivers up to 30,000 pascal suction power. So it doesn't matter what kind of a floor it's going over. If it goes over carpets, if it goes over hard floors, over anything, it will be able to pick up anything from the floor. Also, this brush here, actually let me remove this. You can see that this is quite dirty. Everything is dirty here. I've actually been using this since December. Basically, the way this brush is designed, I believe the manufacturer calls that Zero Tangle 4.0, but basically all the hair that gets on the brush ends up inside the robot vacuum. So you don't really have to worry about this getting hair on it and you having to clean it. So this is how it actually looks after a couple of months of cleaning. So no hair on this. I did notice a couple of hairs that were on this a couple of times, but they seem to have disappeared. So maybe when this spins, it ends up in there as well. But basically, you don't have to worry about hair on this, and the vacuum will be able to suck up anything from any surface. Talking about that, the mop also lifts 15 millimeters. So let's say that you have a combination of carpets and hard floors, and obviously you want the hard floors washed. Well, the mop will lift as soon as the vacuum gets to a carpet. So it knows when it gets to a carpet. It can also increase the suction when it gets to carpets, and the mop will not touch the carpet. So if you have a lot of hair at home, no need to worry. This will, all the hair will end up inside the dustbin and then in the dust bag inside the Omni Station. And since we are talking about the Omni Station, I might as well show you everything about the Omni Station. So the Omni Station is actually a very important part of the cleaning experience with this robot. First things first, it will wash the roller mop with up to 75 degrees hot water. So depending how dirty that roller mop is, the Omni Station will basically control the temperature of that water, and it will also dry the roller mop when the vacuum is done a cleaning cycle. So after the roller mop gets washed, it will get dry with hot air, 65 degrees Celsius hot air. And that is also very important because you definitely don't want the roller mop to smell funny or have bacteria growing on it or anything like that. So yes, the roller mop will be nice and clean in that Omni Station. The Omni Station will also auto clean the dirty water box, so less work for you basically. And looking at that Omni Station, basically at the top we have our two water tanks. One is for clean water, one is for dirty water. If you check that dirty water tank, you're gonna be amazed by how dirty the water is inside it. Now, when I was filming that, I think it was after cleaning all that coffee from the floor, so the color of that looks like coffee. And just below those, we also have our dust bags. So basically all the dirt collected in our dustbin here ends up in that dust bag, so eventually you will have to replace that dust bag. The manufacturer says up to 150 days of maintenance free, basically. Another very important part for a robot vacuum is basically the navigation throughout the house and obstacle avoidance, because the last thing you want to the robot vacuum is the vacuum to get stuck on something when you're not at home. You send it on a cleaning cycle, you leave, and then it gets stuck. Well, that is not the case with this one. With this robot here, I can basically just leave the house as it is, start a cleaning cycle, and I don't have to worry about anything. I believe the manufacturer calls this AEV 3D 4.0 obstacle avoidance. Even though you're not seeing that LiDAR tower that you typically see with a lot of vacuums here, it is actually hidden at the bottom here. So it navigates really well. It always knows where it is. It knows how to go back to the station. It will not miss any places whenever it goes on a cleaning cycle. And you can leave pretty much anything on the floor. Now, personally, I try to clean the house before I let a vacuum go on a cleaning cycle, because it's faster, more efficient if you don't have all these cables, all these toys on the floor. But if you do happen to have those, the vacuum will avoid all that, and it will also map out your entire house. It always knows where it is. It always knows how to go back. So I don't have any worries whatsoever with this one and the navigation throughout the house. This also features Ecovacs AI agent called Eco. So you just say, okay, Eco, and basically you talk to the vacuum, you tell it where it needs to go, what it needs to clean, or you can tell it to go back. And this is just an example, so you can have an idea what you can do with your voice without actually taking the app out, like your phone out and doing anything from the app. Okay, Eco.
Go ahead.
Vacuum the corridor.
Okay, the area will be vacuumed now.
So to quickly conclude this video, even though the T90 Pro here is more of a value-oriented product, so it's not that expensive, it is an affordable product, you do get all the features that you typically find in flagship products. So you get amazing mopping because the floors have never been this clean, you get really good suction power. There is no hair stuck on that brush. The navigation is also really good. The Omni station does great as well. So it's hard to actually recommend a flagship robot when this one does so well for, well, kind of like half the money. So amazing value for the T90 Pro here. As always, there will be links in the video's description so you guys can check this out. Thanks Ecovacs for sponsoring this video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer whatever questions you may have. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.